Mark Consuelos has spent decades in front of cameras, building a reputation as a confident actor, charismatic television personality, and dependable performer. Audiences often see him as calm under pressure, especially during interviews and public appearances. However, during a recent conversation, he revealed a deeply personal story that showed a completely different side of life in the entertainment industry. He shared an experience where he unexpectedly forgot parts of a speech during a late-night filming session, leaving him overwhelmed and emotionally shaken. The moment was far more than a simple mistake on set. For Mark, it felt like a crisis of confidence that forced him to question himself professionally and emotionally. His honesty immediately resonated with viewers because it exposed the hidden pressure performers often carry behind the scenes. Instead of presenting himself as flawless, he chose vulnerability, reminding audiences that even experienced actors face anxiety, fear, and moments of self-doubt despite years of success and public admiration. The pressure that builds behind the cameras. Many people imagine acting as glamorous and exciting, but Mark's story revealed the exhausting reality that often exists behind the finished product audiences eventually see on screen. He described spending hours alone in a trailer during a night shoot, waiting for the moment he would finally be called to perform. While viewers only see a few polished scenes on television, actors frequently spend long stretches preparing mentally and emotionally for brief moments in front of the camera. Mark explained that he waited from early evening until deep into the night before stepping onto the set. By the time filming finally began, fatigue and pressure had already built significantly. Long hours, isolation, and the anticipation of delivering an important scene created enormous stress. Many actors quietly endure similar experiences while trying to remain focused and prepared. His story offered audiences a rare glimpse into the demanding schedules and emotional strain that performers face regularly, even when the final scene may appear effortless and natural to viewers watching from home. The moment everything went wrong. When Mark finally stepped onto the set, he expected to deliver a relatively short speech while filming a scene surrounded by numerous extras. On the surface, it may not have seemed especially complicated. However, in that moment, his mind unexpectedly went blank. He admitted that he struggled to remember sections of his lines and immediately felt overwhelmed by panic and frustration. What made the experience especially difficult was the sudden realization that something normally easy for him had become incredibly challenging. Mark explained that memorizing lines had never been a major problem throughout his career, which made the situation even more unsettling emotionally. For performers, confidence often comes from routine and preparation. When that confidence disappears unexpectedly, even briefly, it can feel deeply destabilizing. His reaction reflected more than simple embarrassment. It represented the fear many professionals experience when they suddenly doubt abilities they once trusted completely. The honesty in his description made the moment relatable because almost everyone understands what it feels like when pressure causes the mind to freeze during an important situation. Understanding the emotional impact, Mark described the experience as feeling almost like an existential crisis, a phrase that immediately caught viewers' attention because it reflected how emotionally intense the situation became for him. Forgetting lines may sound minor to outsiders, but for actors, performance is closely tied to confidence, preparation, and professional identity. When something goes wrong publicly, it can trigger feelings of insecurity and self-doubt that linger long after filming ends. His openness highlighted the emotional burden many performers quietly carry behind polished public appearances. Audiences often assume experienced actors become immune to nervousness after years in the industry, but Mark's story proved that anxiety never fully disappears. Pressure can still affect even the most seasoned professionals. What resonated with viewers was not simply the mistake itself, but the emotional honesty with which he described it. Instead of pretending the moment was insignificant, he acknowledged how deeply it affected him. That honesty allowed audiences to connect with him on a more human level, because his experience reflected universal fears about failure, embarrassment, and losing confidence during moments that feel important. The loneliness of temporary work. One particularly meaningful part of Mark's story involved his description of feeling disconnected while working as a guest actor on a set where he was only present for a short period. He explained that when performers arrive temporarily on productions already operating like close-knit teams, they can feel isolated and uncertain. That feeling often adds even more pressure during filming. Actors entering an established environment may already feel like outsiders trying to prove themselves quickly. In Mark's case, that insecurity became even stronger after struggling with his lines. His comments revealed a side of acting that audiences rarely think about. While the industry appears glamorous publicly, much of the work involves constantly adapting to unfamiliar environments, new crews, different directors, and changing expectations. There is often little time to build comfort or confidence before performing under intense scrutiny. Mark's honesty about feeling disconnected resonated with many people beyond the entertainment world, because temporary work environments exist in countless professions. His experience reflected the universal challenge of trying to feel confident while entering spaces where you still feel uncertain and unfamiliar. Rita Ora's similar experience. During the conversation, Rita Ora also shared her own story about freezing during an important acting moment. She described filming a major monologue and suddenly feeling her mind completely shut down in the middle of the performance. Her experience mirrored Mark's emotions closely, reinforcing the idea that performance anxiety affects many people regardless of experience or talent. The exchange between them became especially meaningful because it transformed the conversation from an isolated incident into a broader discussion about vulnerability in creative professions. Both performers acknowledged how frightening it can feel when preparation suddenly disappears in a high-pressure environment. At the same time, Rita pointed out one comforting reality about film and television production. Unlike live performances, scenes can often be repeated until actors regain their confidence and rhythm. Her perspective added balance and reassurance to the conversation. Viewers appreciated seeing two successful entertainers openly discussing fear and imperfection without embarrassment. Their honesty reminded audiences that mistakes and difficult moments are a normal part of creative work and do not erase talent, dedication, or years of professional achievement, turning vulnerability into strength. In the end, Mark's story became far more meaningful than a simple tale about forgetting lines on set. It became a reminder that vulnerability can actually strengthen the connection between public figures and audiences. By speaking honestly about fear, insecurity, and emotional pressure, he showed viewers a deeply human side rarely visible behind polished television appearances. Rather than damaging his image, the story made many people admire him even more because of his openness and self-awareness. His willingness to laugh about the experience while still acknowledging how difficult it felt demonstrated emotional maturity and authenticity. Audiences often connect most strongly with celebrities when they reveal moments of imperfection instead of trying to appear flawless constantly. Mark's experience also carried a comforting message for anyone struggling with self-doubt. Difficult moments, mistakes, and setbacks do not define a person's worth or talent. They are simply part of growth and experience. His story reminded viewers that even successful people continue facing uncertainty, and that honesty about those struggles can create powerful understanding and connection.